Hi everyone, thanks for joining today's webinar where we'll be talking about the Desk.com Agent Console. And this webinar is going to be focused on training new Desk agent users. My name is Brian Sa. I'm the onboarding and training specialist here at Desk, and it's my job to create new content that's going to help customers to learn the Desk product. So just a few housekeeping items before we begin. The training portion of today's session will last just about 30 to 35 minutes. Following that, we will have a training session we'll have a Q&A session. So during the training or the Q&A, if you do have any questions, feel free to type those into the GoToWebinar questions panel, and we'll get those answered towards the end. As always, our session is being recorded, so if you wanted to watch the session at a later time and walk through your own Desk instance, or maybe if you can't stay with us for the entire time, we will email out the recording to you guys. So for today's agenda, what we'll be talking about, first of all, is what is Desk? For those of you that are brand new to Desk, we'll talk about what Desk is. We'll also talk about the universal inbox, the navigation of the overall agent console. We'll talk about the basics of case management, the internal knowledge base within Desk, and then we'll talk about case life cycles. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. So let's first talk about what is Desk.com. Desk.com is an all-in-one platform that allows you to respond to your customer inquiries, and that's going to be across multiple channels and provide online self-service content for your customers. So using Desk.com, you'll be able to respond to customers without having to monitor every one of your channels like Facebook or Twitter separately. You'll also be able to collaborate with colleagues to resolve cases. And you'll also be able to run reports on key metrics, things like first contact resolution rate, average response time, customer satisfaction, and more. And this will, in the end, help you make better business decisions. Also, another key benefit of Desk is that you'll have the ability to view and create public and internal and external articles for your agents and your customers so that they can really help themselves answer those questions that they're asking. Also, Desk is a system that really scales as you grow, whether you're going from a small startup to an enterprise level company. Desk will grow with you guys. All right, so let's actually go ahead and dive in. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into the system. All right, so what you're looking at now is the agent console. I'll first start with the icons here at the top. First is the side menu. So clicking on the 3-bar icon opens up our side menu. So let me walk you through the different options here. So first of all, we have our classic agent, which is the standard agent console. This is used to work on our support tickets. Next, we have our next gen agent, which is the next generation of the classic agent console. Now, this is where we are now, and you'll notice that it's been reskinned with a modern look and feel. If you're new to Desk, we definitely recommend that you use this next-gen agent console because this is where we will constantly make improvements or add new features in terms of Desk. Next here is Business Insights, which is our reporting tool. And then we have our admin console, which is used to configure settings and automate workflows. Then we have Get Help, which will direct you to our Desk.com support area where you can find answers to really commonly asked questions or even find how-to articles. And then lastly in this area, we have our knowledge base, which will bring up a menu for viewing internal and external articles that you've created. Now, just to note, you may or may not see, have access to the admin console or business insights. And this is really going to depend on your desk access level. If you do feel like you, as an agent, you do need access to either business insights or the admin console, please contact your company's desk administrator. So today, again, we'll be focusing on the next gen agent console here. So continuing on, at the top here on our icons, we have our case inbox icon, which is the inbox where your agents will go to view and select and work on update cases. To the right of that, we have our quick search area where you can perform searches for keywords, customer names, case IDs, and other things as well. Then in the area to the right, and here you're not seeing anything just yet, but this is where you'll eventually see multiple case tabs that you're working on, so you can toggle through them and kind of work quickly. To the right of that, we have our new case creation button, which you can click to create a new case on the fly, and we'll walk through this process as well today. In the right corner, we have our agent settings menu. Here are a few helpful tools for the agent. Let me actually full screen this just real quick to get a better view. Okay. So the first is our keyboard shortcuts, and this is really just to help your agents with efficiency. There's a lot of great shortcuts here that'll make your allow your agents just to fly through cases, really. Going back to the settings, we have a few simple account and sound settings where the agent can change their password and toggle their chat sounds on and off. And before exiting, make sure to click update if any changes are made as well. Oops. Going back to settings, we also have our language setting, which will allow you to change the native language for your desk console as well. And then lastly, we can sign out of desk when we're done with our sessions. All right, so let's take a closer look at our inbox now. Now, just a reminder, wherever you might be in the agent console, whether you navigate away or into a case, you can click on the inbox icon to bring you back to this home page. All right, so let's first take a look at a few important filters on the left-hand side of the screen here. Now, filters dynamically pull in cases that correspond to a set of conditions that your admin set. The inbox icon here, the inbox filter, I should say, shows cases that haven't been resolved yet. Under that, we're going to see My Cases that shows cases that are assigned specifically to you as the agent. Now, those cases could have any case status, and we'll talk about the status in just a moment. And then under that, we have the All Case filter, which simply shows all the cases that have ever been in the system. Now, just to clarify, these filters, they don't actually store cases permanently. Think of them more as views, and they're different from folders that you would have on a computer. You can always ask your admin to change any of these filters, or maybe even create a new filter that you think might be helpful for you specifically. Now, to the right, we have our checkboxes column where you can select multiple cases to update in bulk. You can use this row of boxes to select all or uncheck it, or even select a combination of cases that you want to update in bulk. And that'll bring up our bulk editor on the right here where you can, whether it's replying to multiple cases or changing the status or priority, or adding a simple label to multiple cases, you can do that. So we'll go and uncheck those for now. Next here we have our case status column that indicates whether a case is new, open, pending, or resolved. So at a glance, we can see what type of cases are in our queue. And then next to that, we have our case type, which tells us from which channel these cases are coming from, whether they're a phone case, an email case, or a social media case. Then in the right side, we have our subject area. We see the subject of the incoming case, which is pulled from the email subject line or the social media subject line. And also any case labels are also going to show up here. And these case labels really help to tell more information about the case in terms of the category of the case, or labels are actually also often used to indicate some type of action that needs to take place on a case as well. And again, these case labels are sometimes manually added by an agent, and labels can also be added by a business rule or a system rule automatically as well. So be aware of that. All right. So now before we get into how to manage and work on cases, I think it's a good idea to look at tools that your agents can use to answer those questions that come in from your customers. And that's where the knowledge base is extremely helpful. Now, we can access the knowledge base from the side menu or from an opening case. For now, let's go ahead and go with the side menu. So on the left side, we'll see there's a panel. Actually, let's go to knowledge base here. All right. On the left-hand side, we'll see that there's a panel with a list of topics that have been created by the admin. Now, each knowledge base article belongs to a corresponding topic. And as a side note, an article cannot live under multiple topics. So this is not, this is different from filters where where a case can live in multiple filters. One article can only live in one topic. Now, there are two types of topics that's going to be public and private. Public topics contain articles that can be viewed by internal agents, by customers. They can be viewed or shared with customers as well. Private topics are going to be viewable only by internal agents. So any articles in a private topic are identified with the label that says private as so here on the right-hand side. And these private articles are really helpful for internal processes like how to process a refund or what to do in the case of an escalation. All right. Right here above the topics, we have our article search. So on the fly, without having to look through topics or sift through an article list, we can go ahead and search for the topic that we're looking for. In the main area, we have our article view, where we can click various articles to view the full content of the article. To the right here, we have a set of filters for the types of articles we'd like to view. And again, these can be categorized, and there's a sorting option here as well. And then to the right here, we have icons that you can click if you want to copy a link to the article, or you can copy the actual text of the article to your clipboard. And the great thing about this is that you can actually copy this information and then you can paste it right into a response to a customer. All right. So this is a really great tool that your agents will use when replying to cases, or even for some of your agents that are a little bit newer and they might not know, your entire system or your product quite well, but they can find those answers, whether it be through the public knowledge base or the internal knowledge base as well. All right, so let's go ahead and close out the knowledge base and go back to the main console screen here. So let's take a quick look at the search and type in a search term, and I'll type in order status here. All right, now we'll see that we have some results here in the main area. From here, we can open or view cases directly within the search results. But let's take a look at the rest of the page. On the left side, we can see any saved searches that your agents have used. Once you've searched for a keyword, we can save the search via the Save Search link right here, and that'll save it into your list here. Now, we can further refine our search using the Advanced Search option here. So by clicking on the down caret, we can add more parameters for our search and even select which object within Desk that we're actually searching. Then to the right of that, we have our search toggle, and we can click here and see the drop down to change the search by a case, customer, or company. All right, great. Let's go back to our icon, go back to our inbox here. All right, so now let's actually talk about new case creation. So we'll click on the new case creation button here, and this will show you your active channels. Next, we'll select appropriate channels. Let's actually go ahead and just select phone since it's already selected here. Then we'll search for customer by starting to type in the name of the customer, and I'll go ahead and type in Danny here. All right, so we can either click on an existing customer or we can click add new customer if we don't see that here. Let's actually go ahead and just click this one here, and I'll go ahead and click create case here to start a new phone case. All right, now new case creation is generally helpful for phone cases because the majority of the time cases will automatically be created through email, Facebook, or Twitter, but there will be times where you will want to manually create an email case as well. So now that we've created a case, let's pause to talk about the life cycle and status of a case. Here on the right-hand side, we have our status field. So first we have open, which is when a case has been opened or updated, but a response hasn't yet been sent out to the customer. An example of an update is a change of priority or maybe changing the agent assignment. Next, we have pending, which is when a response has been sent to a customer. Generally, the status of pending means that the customer needs to respond or provide some additional information. Next, we have resolved, which is when you believe that you've answered all of your customers' questions in full and no further action from either parties is required. When a customer does respond to a resolved case, the case will then be reopened. Now, you'll notice that a status here that's missing here is new. A case cannot be set to a new status once it's been opened, and that's why it doesn't appear here. A status of new means that a case has not been opened by an agent at all. So you'll only see that new status in your inbox view. Now, two other case statuses that you might be wondering about are closed and deleted. Closed cases cannot be edited or updated, and cases can only be closed using a time rule, meaning that they can't be closed manually. We recommend that even as an admin, that you don't activate a rule that closes a case automatically when the endpoint is set to resolved here. Now, the other case status that you don't see here is deleted. Now, depending on the admin, agents may or may not have the ability to delete cases. And again, that will be up to the admin to decide that. But for now, we recommend this for the time being, that you do not allow agents to delete cases until you're more comfortable with Desk. So let's go back to the home agent console and talk a little bit more about life cycles of a case, as well as some different channels that your cases will come from. Now, your site admin will determine which channels are active, but just to review, there's phone, email, chat, Q&A from a contact form, Facebook, and Twitter. So here, going down here, we have a new email case that has a status of new, and that's indicated by the full circle here. Again, you'll see the open by the empty circle icon here as well. Now, once we click into this new case, and I'll do that now, then the case status set automatically changes to new, and you'll see that we can no longer change it back. I'm sorry, it changes to open, and we can no longer change it back to new. So let's go ahead and reply to a case, and let's just type in some text here, and then we'll go ahead and press send. And the reason why we're pressing send is because in this situation, I wouldn't consider the case resolved. I may have asked the customer for some additional information, so I'm waiting for a response. So now you'll see the status of pending here for this specific case. Now, let's just pretend that this customer for this specific case has responded. Then the status would appear as open here. But let's go ahead and just click into it, and I'll go ahead and just change it manually to open right now. All right. Now, let's say the agent responds, let's say maybe another time. And then let's say for this situation, all questions have been answered. I don't need any more information from the customer. The customer is not expecting any more information from me. Then I can go ahead and set this case to be resolved. And I can just go ahead and send an update as well. Now, remember that if a customer does respond to a resolved case, that case will simply just be reopened. Okay. So let's now take a closer look at the case screen once again. So I'll go in and click into a case here. And the first thing you'll notice is there's the customer and company information on the left-hand side. If you click into the fields for any of the information, you can update the information as you see necessary. Also, when we close that, we can click on the company information to see additional information about that specific company as well. Now, let's say that I'm working on this case, but then I get, another agent comes with, to me for a question, and I have to answer another question. And let's say that kind of goes on throughout the day, and I have multiple cases open. I can click into multiple cases without updating. And then at the top of your screen here, you notice that these multiple cases open up as tabs. So I can go ahead and just toggle between them and work on them one at a time. Whenever I'm done with them, I can go ahead and update or resolve, or if I need to just leave it as is for now, I can go ahead and let's just say I've started a reply, but I'm not quite finished. I can go ahead and just exit out of it. We can close without updating or updating close as well here. All right, so let's take a look. Let's open up one of our email cases one more time here. And let's take a look at some of the other options here. Next here we have case forwarding, which you can enter the email of the recipient as well as any notes to that specific person. Again, it'll just show up in their inbox, in their email inbox. Then on the right panel, we have our other case related information, which is our case details in addition to status. We see that we have priority, the internal group assignment, agent assignment. We can also add various labels quickly to identify the type of case. Again, labels are great for categorizing cases, or more popularly, they're used to identify action items that need to be taken on a case. So, for example, follow-up or escalation or feedback or something like that, any type of actions to really kind of point out in our inbox view that this case has a specific refund process that needs to be done or something like that. Okay. Be aware that labels can be added manually by agents, but they can also be added automatically by a business rule or automatically through maybe some type of process that your admin has set up. Also, you can select labels just by clicking into the field and selecting from the list. But your admin may even allow you guys to add labels on the fly. So I can maybe even type in a brand new one here, and then I can actually go and create that label on the fly and add it as well. All right. So also, if your company uses any custom fields, those are going to show up below here. And again, these are really great for really defining a set of categories. The custom fields, you can choose to have maybe for example, maybe 5 or 10 category lists so that you can capture information about what specific topics are your customers asking for. Or let's say that you have maybe a line of 15 products. You can go ahead and enter those 15 products in a custom field list that your agents can actually select from. Next here, If there are any attachments such as photos, those are going to appear here. And then also really important is the case timeline. So this will show you all the actions that have been performed on a case, such as who's opened or viewed the case. Also, any automated actions performed by rule, those will all show up here. So every single interaction that's happened on a specific case will show up here. All right. Now, as we've seen before, in the center is the body of the case. And then, actually, let me close the case timeline. Here is the center of the case, which is obviously just the message from the customer. And then right underneath, we can see whether we want to reply to a customer or if we want to add an internal note to another agent. And again, these notes are visible only by other desk agents. And then we can actually use the field for both the reply and note area depending on which one is selected at the time. And then here towards the bottom, these are our macro options. Now, macros are really great because these are either canned responses or a set of automated tasks that'll help your agents to be more efficient. Your admin can set up these macros to help you guys be more efficient. So let's say, for example, you have a question that comes in maybe 5 times a day. And so you can, through a macro, you can add a canned response, you can change a label, you can set a custom field, you can assign it to another agent, and many more other actions. And again, that can all be done with one simple macro. So with a couple clicks of a macro, you can do up to 10 to 20 things on a specific case. So if I click in the macro, I can see a list of the macros that are set up, and I can go ahead and just select it. Or as just a tip here, you can also use the shortcut for pound. And if I know the name of the macro, I can go ahead and just start typing in here, and I can go ahead and select it very easily. Okay. All right. Then towards the right here, we have the ability to manually change the outbound email address that's used. So if you do have multiple email inboxes set up, you can set up these email outboxes as well. And this is really helpful because sometimes your customers might have emailed someone from your sales department when it's actually a customer service question. So then even though it came in to your sales department, you can go ahead and set the outbound email address as your customer service email address, and so that your customers know who it's from. Next here, we have our close tab option. And this is so that your cases automatically close when it's updated. If you do want to keep your cases open and view kind of your response or anything, you can uncheck it. So even if I send an update, it's going to go ahead and remain open here. Okay. And then lastly, let's go ahead and click into a new case just to show you this one last thing. You'll notice that we have a couple options in terms of sending, updating, and resolving. These will change dynamically as you change something in the case. So right now we don't see send in either options, but once we actually type in some text, then these dynamically change to send and update. Also, once we change something in terms of the case details, then it'll also set to update as well. And again, remember, sending and updating, let's say that you need some more information or you're sending an email and you expect a response from a customer, then we'll do send and update. If we feel like we've answered the question in full and no response is necessary from the customer, in that case, we'll go ahead and send, update, and resolve. Okay. All right, so that in a nutshell is a pretty good walkthrough, pretty thorough walkthrough of the agent console. So just to review, we today talked about what Desk.com is. We talked about the universal inbox and navigating between, navigating through the agent console. We talked about kind of the basics of case management in terms of how to manage multiple cases, how to view them, how to respond. We took a look at the knowledge base and how the knowledge base can really help your agents be a little bit more efficient, or even help out some of your newer agents when they're first starting off. And we also looked at case life cycles. So a lot of information today. So just a couple of other resources. Now, if you want to dive deeper into any of these topics, we have support.desk.com, which is Desk's support page. And let's actually jump there right now so I can just show you. So support.desk.com. This is a really helpful resource in terms of finding articles or finding, how-to videos or whatnot. And let's give it just a second to load here. Oops, let's try that one more time. And I think my internet is going a little bit slow. But let's go ahead and just jump back for now. Also, we have our video support center, which is really great. There's a lot of great short snippets of videos, like 2 to 3 minute videos, as well as longer walkthroughs and other webinars that you can watch to learn about Desk. Also, we have other great webinars. In addition, tomorrow we have our Desk Connect webinar, which is our integration between Desk and Salesforce. And then we also have our admin training webinar, which will be held on Thursday. That's directed for new admins for Desk to really help them. And then, as always, if you have any questions, always feel free to email us at support@desk.com. And let's see here. Whoops. Looks like it's not loading for some reason. I do apologize. As I was saying, if you do have any questions, you can always email us at support@desk.com. All right, so I think that pretty much covers the content that we had today. We'll go ahead and open up the lines for, we'll open up for Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to type those into the GoToWebinar questions panel, and we'll answer those in the order they're received. Okay, looks like we have one already. Are labels customer facing? Labels are not customer facing. You can put any type of label that you want on a case. You can, create a preset list of labels, or again, agents can create labels on the fly. Again, these are typically used for identifying action items on a case. It is tempting to use labels as categories, which some people do choose to use, but I would actually recommend using custom labels for categorization and labels as the action item. But to answer that question, labels are not customer facing. Only desk agents will be able to see those. All right, thank you for that question. Let's check if there's another one here. Okay, this is a commonly asked question. Can you also change the priority from numbers 1 to 10 to something like low, high, critical? Unfortunately, the priorities are set from that number scale 1 to 10, and oftentimes we actually get the question, how does the number scale in Desk correspond with the Salesforce priorities of low, medium, and high? And the way that the integration handles that is that the priority of 1 to 4 is considered low, 5 to 9 is medium, and then 10 is going to be the high status in Salesforce. But unfortunately, you cannot change the priority numbers in Desk. Thank you for that question. Okay, and let's check if there's another question here. 1 second. Okay, so how do you manage reply emails? Can we ensure if an agent works on an email and replies and the customer emails back, we'd like the reply to go back into the queue? And yes, and that's how Desk does handle that. What you typically would do is you would have um, even if you were to set up your agent-specific emails into Desk, which we typically don't recommend that you do, we typically recommend that you have maybe one or a handful of emails that the whole group would handle. So, for example, with Desk, we have support at Desk.com, and that is the email address that everyone emails, all of our customers email into. And then even if my coworker, let's say Bob, opens that case and replies, the outbound email address is set as a default as support at desk.com. So when they reply, that will show up in the queue, in the general queue as well. Now, again, filters dynamically pull in cases. So you can have a filter that shows every single case that comes in, and then you can have a filter that dynamically pulls in that specific agent's queue that person is specifically working on as well. All right. Looks like we have another question. Can we report based on labels? Yes, you can report based on labels. So I definitely recommend using those. You can also report based on custom fields. Again, we typically recommend custom fields to be what you use to categorize your cases. In terms of whether it's like a product issue or customer service issue or sales issue, or maybe it's a list of products. We recommend that you use custom fields for that. And the labels, which you can use to categorize your cases, but we typically recommend that labels are going to be used more for action items, once again. But yes, you can report on labels. All right, let's read the next question here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Uh, can you log in as the customer so you can see what they are looking at in case they're having difficulty using the Desk.com portal? So what we typically recommend in terms of being able to see what the customer is seeing, you have the ability to, as an admin, to create reply themes in Desk, so you can have a specific look and feel when you reply via email or whatnot. So we recommend you always test that out. If you want to log in as a customer, we don't have like a customer view per se, but what you can always do is use a test email and then go ahead and use that. Okay, and thank you for that question here. All right, looks like we have another one here. Can we create our own customized CAN responses? Yes, you definitely can. So you as the admin can create as many macros as you want. You can add in your custom or replies or responses. Again, yes, you can do that. All right. Another question here. Can we disable the agents to possibly assign cases to other agents? Um, that's an interesting scenario. I believe you may be able to do that through a business rule. There's no way to actually disable that field, but you could probably create a business rule where and again, you can. I encourage you to email support so that they could maybe think through this specific business rule with you. But you could probably set it so that when someone resolves a case or updates a case or closes out of it, if they've changed it to anyone else besides them, that the case is reassigned to them and once again appears in their queue again. So that's kind of a workaround that you could do for that. All right, and yeah, I got a message here that you guys couldn't hear me. I do apologize. I do think I was having some connection issues. But I think let's see here. Let's see if there's any more questions. What I'll do for any of those, any of you guys that had some audio problems, I'll go ahead and send out the recording to you guys so you can hear the responses to my questions. Again, these are really great questions, so we appreciate them. I encourage you guys to email support if you do have any further questions. Also, if you have any specific use cases like like the scenario of not disabling case assignment to other agents, I encourage you guys to email support. Again, support@desk.com. We'd love to hear from you guys. And I will also be hosting tomorrow and Thursday sessions. So if you work through the Desk Agent Console and have any other questions, I'm more than happy to answer those questions on tomorrow and Thursday sessions as well. Let me check one more time if we have any other questions. Looks like that was it. So I'll go ahead and wrap up today's session. Thank you for joining today, and we look forward to seeing you on other webinars. Have a great day, everyone.